Arctic militarization: why superpowers are rushing to control the ice. The Arctic, often associated with serene landscapes and wildlife, is not just a picturesque region but a strategically important area shaped by environmental, political, economic, and military forces. During the Cold War, it was a battleground between the United States, US, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR. Post-Cold War, Arctic nations sought to preserve it as a zone of cooperation. 1. However, the strategic competition among the US, Russia, and the People's Republic of China, PRC, has significantly elevated its geopolitical importance in the past decade. The military advancements of Russia and PRC, in contrast to slower efforts by the US and NATO, have turned the Arctic into a critical focus for security, resource access, and control over emerging shipping routes. In 2009, global interest in the Arctic surged when the U.S. Geological Survey estimated the Arctic held 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of the world's natural gas. 2. That same year, the U.S. hosted the Arctic Council ministerial meeting to reaffirm cooperation. When Russia asserted its claims over Arctic territory, the tone shifted from collaboration to competition. Russia's tenor was not unprecedented. In 2007, Russian submarines planted a Russian flag on the North Pole, proclaiming, "The Arctic is Russian." 3. The 2013 launch of the U.S. National Strategy for the Arctic region set the stage for today's geopolitical landscape. By 2022, Russian militarism and PRC's Polar Silk Road ambitions prompted the U.S. to update its Arctic strategy, emphasizing military readiness, infrastructure, and NATO collaboration. 4. The Biden administration further prioritized investments in icebreakers, climate action, and indigenous involvement, striking a delicate balance between national security and sustainable development in this increasingly contested region. 5. Background: since 2009, the U.S. has issued several Arctic policy documents. The 2009 Arctic Region Policy Directive marked a significant shift in U.S. assessment by recognizing the Arctic's importance, particularly in terms of energy and security. 6. The 2013 National Strategy for the Arctic region highlighted energy and U.S. security, environmental preservation, freedom of navigation, access to resources, commerce protection, and peaceful resolution. 7. The 2022 National Strategy for the Arctic region was more urgent. Marie-Anne Konins, a senior fellow at the Egmont Institute and former EU ambassador, Arctic, noted that in prior years, U.S. Arctic commitment was not high on the U.S. federal agenda. 8. The strategy marked a shift in U.S. policy, acknowledging the Arctic as a critical and addressing challenges that had emerged since 2013. It identified 4 key pillars: security, climate change/protection, sustainable development, and international governance. 9. The strategy emphasized climate change and investing in sustainable development while increasing capabilities to prevent threats to the U.S. and its allies. 10. Furthermore, it recognized the heightened strategic competition in the Arctic, exacerbated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 11. In 2023, U.S. Army General Van Herk advocated to Congress the urgent need for a focused Arctic strategy, enhanced domain awareness, and the creation of a comprehensive defense framework as these challenges were being driven further by advancing climate change and rising security challenges. 12. The 2024 Department of Defense, DoD, Arctic Strategy further recognizes the Arctic's growing importance due to climate change, geopolitical shifts, and increasing great power competition, and directs the DoD to enhance its Arctic capabilities, deepen engagement with allies and partners, and exercise our forces to build readiness for operations at high latitudes. 13. It highlights critical defense objectives, including protecting U.S. sovereignty, maintaining stability, and ensuring the Arctic's role as a secure avenue for power projection. The 2024 strategy includes specific initiatives such as enhanced domain awareness, increased communication, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, better understanding of cold weather operations, and conducting key routine training alongside U.S. allies to strengthen joint capabilities. 14. The strategy emphasizes cooperation with and participation of Arctic nations and indigenous communities. It underscores climate adaptation measures. Through these efforts, the DoD seeks to maintain a monitor and respond posture, ensuring the Arctic remains peaceful while adapting to dynamic environmental and security conditions. Climate change and security. Climate change has rapidly transformed the Arctic, making previously inaccessible areas more available for economic and strategic use. The North Sea Route, NSR, and the Northwest Passage, NWP, could become economically viable by 2023-15, potentially diverting traffic from the Suez Canal. As access to critical resources expands, states will shift strategies and intensify competition over the Arctic's growing economic and military significance. This competition has also been driven by its militarization. 16. Over the past decade, Russia has modernized its Arctic military bases, deployed defense missiles, and upgraded its submarine fleet while developing fisheries, petroleum, and mineral extraction. 17. Russia's restrictive NSR claims have further escalated tensions, especially following its invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, PRC signaled growing ambitions, having ramped up its Arctic investments, researched military applications, and expanded its icebreaker fleet. 18. These developments highlight the Arctic's evolving role in economic opportunity and strategic rivalry, posing significant challenges to U.S. grand strategy. American grand strategy. The 2009 Arctic region policy shifted away from the apathetic post-Cold War U.S. Arctic strategy, recognizing the Arctic as an emerging critical region but only identified two focal points: energy and security. 19. The 2022 national strategy for the Arctic region was comprehensive, addressing the pillars of security, climate change/environmental protection, sustainable development, and international governance. Changes in the physical, financial, and geopolitical landscape have shifted American grand strategy in the Arctic, ending the previous 3 decades of stability following the Cold War and reflecting rising geopolitical tensions between Russia and Arctic stakeholders. Energy. The U.S. is vested in the Arctic's oil and natural gas, with Alaska's Prudhoe Bay oil field being North America's most prominent. In the 2000s, Prudhoe Bay typically produced about 8% of America's domestic oil. 20. The importance of Arctic oil to America's energy independence was demonstrated in 2006 when a leak in a critical pipeline at Prudhoe Bay forced the line's shutdown while the U.S. and Iran were in a dispute. At the same time, tensions in the Middle East made it difficult for the U.S. to buy reasonably priced foreign oil. The total cost of oil increased 3% domestically. 21. The 2009 Arctic region policy aimed to increase U.S. oil independence by accessing Alaskan oil deposits. While it received support from energy independence advocates, it was also met with resistance from environmentalists, thus hindering implementation. 22. This debate persisted over the years, shaping subsequent approaches to Arctic resource development. The Trump administration, 2021, issued drilling leases on more than 400,000 acres in Alaska's Arctic.